1 in 5 Americans suffer from chronic pain. Many are now using CBD for relief.
Activists are hoping pot could be legalized nationwide by the end of 2019.
When you look at premium cannabis, the Illinois House approved legalizing recreational marijuana.
Welcome to The Budding Report, a weekly show centered around all things cannabis. Please join us in welcoming our host, Charles Horton, and his co-host, Melissa Nasits, as they share the latest in cannabis news, conduct interviews with top leaders in the cannabis space, and promote some of the latest in science and innovation. And now to our host, Charles Horton.
Welcome everybody to the Budding Report. We have a very special episode today for you. First, I want to introduce my guests. We have an extra guest hosting today, but I'll start with Melissa. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi, Charles. Always wonderful to be here with you.
How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Beautiful day outside.
Excellent. Dr. Shaw, how's the weather where you're at?
It's great. I'm really enjoying it.
Kind of looks
Not stormy
stormy.
at all.
Kind of looks stormy over there. And then we have a special guest today, Jeff Crilley. Jeff Crilley owns Real PR News, and he owns the studios that we're filming in. But I'm going to save the rest of your introduction to you, Jeff. We've been friends for like at least a decade.
Yes. So 25 years in the news business. Wrote a best-selling book about how to get on the news. And I started this company in my home in 2008, and now I wake up 11 years later with 20 full-time employees and more than 100 clients, and I get to help with podcasts, broadcasts like this, and now we're producing 92 different shows a month. Those are 92 completely different clients.
I think when I met you, you had like 2 or 3 employees, and they all had the last name Crilley.
Yes. That's true. You have a good memory.
Well, I welcome you today, and you'll see where your role is on this show very quickly. But first, I want to cover the news. So this is an investor alert. Ding, 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 ding. Get that money out and get ready to invest, because Arizona is on the verge of allowing recreational marijuana use. So investors are looking to flood into the state and get in with stores, get in with grows, and just get in the whole ecosystem of cannabis. Isn't that exciting? And I know you're from Arizona, Melissa.
I am from Arizona. I grew up there. I went to the University of Arizona down in Tucson, and yeah, we didn't even have medical marijuana when I was living there. It's very exciting. Reading the article, I was a little concerned about some of the dispensaries as they stand, what the change will be from going from a medical state to a adult use or recreational state, similar to California. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. As an investor, you probably can answer those questions a lot better than I can. But
Dr. Shaw, how do you think that's going to go, going from a medical use state to also cannabis? I mean, also recreational.
It seems, from what I've heard, the polls that they've taken thus far indicate it's like over 60+% in favor. So I think it's going to go through. I believe that ultimately it's going to have a lot of positive impact as long as the regulatory process kind of is more consistent, I think, with something of Colorado. Rather than that of California, who, as a state has run into some issues, as we all know.
Now, Jeff, I don't know that I've even asked you this before, but what is your position on either medical or recreational marijuana use?
I'm cool with both. Honestly, it's just it's not a big deal. I think we had some stuff, some regulation that was passed down from another generation, and this is a new time, and I think a more educated consumer.
What do you think Texas is going to do in that department? Can we look forward to it being legal here?
I think we're within a couple years of that happening.
That's
absolutely
fantastic. I certainly hope so. So I know if you've jumped into cannabis investing, especially in the public companies, you may have had some pain, but if you're still in the stocks, I'd kind of recommend you stay in the stocks, because as more states open up, the federal government is likely to open up too. So keep those investments going and maybe look for something specifically in these states that are opening up. Well, we're going to go off to our first commercial break. When we come back, unfortunately, we have an unhappy story, but we're looking for a happy ending. Our guest, Michael Brooks, is going to tell his story about having cannabis kind of ruin his life, take away his kids, and put his own medical health in jeopardy. So we'll be back in just a minute with Michael Brooks.
Coming to you after our hike that we finished. Buster exercises 3 miles. Today is a recovery day because he did 8-mile hike over the weekend, broken up into 2. But what I want to share with you is this company here called Simple Changes. I learned about them and I absolutely love the concept. It's wellness, community, and organization. So as you can see here, I love the wrapping, I love purple, and it comes with 3 products. So I've been trying them out. First, it's the hemp oil spray, then it's the hemp oil dropper, and the hemp oil balm. So I'll be trying all of these out. I've been exploring them, exploring the ingredients. I met with the team on Zoom. Really neat product. And I love the fact that they also want to incorporate healthy practices. So they come with a little journal and something about simple success guide. So, Simple Changes.
Well, welcome back. We have Michael Brooks joining us from his home remotely. He is a cannabis patient. He is also an advocate of the plant. He is currently engrossed in a very difficult legal battle for his children and is undergoing end-of-life treatments. We're very happy you could join us. We want to hear more about your story, and hopefully we can find a positive and happy ending.
Michael, start off just by telling us about yourself and what you've gone through.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you first off for the privilege being here with you guys and your mission. See things change for people like myself. Actually, my story started about 5 years ago. I was diagnosed with hepatitis C about 30 years ago, and I've just constantly been behind the new and upcoming treatments. And unfortunately, I'm one of the last, or fortunately, however you look at it, one of the last people that will have to suffer to this degree with hepatitis C. But I'm beyond treatment, and all internal organs have been compromised and are failing. This started about 5 years ago. I'm 6'1". I got down to 118 pounds, and the doctors had given up. I was bleeding out of my eyes, thrombocytopenia, the liver was failing, spleen, kidneys, and I'd heard about the subject of cannabis oil. So it being illicit in the state of Tennessee, and I never haven't heard of it outside of the internet. I did some research and made a decision, nothing to lose and everything to gain if it worked. Went to Colorado. On and off sporadic treatments. Within 9 months, I was a picture of health. I had packed on more than 60 pounds. The viral load was undetectable. All internal organs were improving. I was able to stop taking metformin for my pancreas. The diabetic-like symptoms had went away. It was a Lazarus effect for myself. I had all medical proof to back it up, all documentations to prove so, but entered the Department of Children's Services into our lives shortly after my cure and claimed it was an illicit drug use and started a fight for 4.5 years all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And I lost my children this past August. And less than 3 months later, the doctors gave me a month to live. Because it required me giving up my medical treatment and travels in order to satisfy this cash-for-profit agency that was using the status quo of a plant in that state. So I obeyed this agency in order to have my inalienable rights, my children, returned to me. And over a 4-year period began, the disease returned, and I became so very ill, the claim started becoming that I was too unhealthy to care for my children. So as I see it, my personal experience, and with my children and their entire lives and future and their children, I look at the cannabis issue in a very different way, a very unique way than most people. Our lives, our heritage, and our futures have been changed over the fact that I accessed something as simple as a plant that contained botanical chemistries that brought me back from the brink of death. But yet it was the common opinion, or using law as it exists to access corrupt cash to oppose the people or oppress people for other personal gains, selfish gains. I want to live to see those changes. I want to survive to fight to get my children back. They're now working on their third set of government-assigned parents, and they're 5 and 6 years old. And this is the nation's view on what is best for little children, rather
When's
than
the last time they saw your? When's the last time you saw your kids?
It's been almost 3 years, sir.
Wow.
Oh, the fact that politics has anything whatsoever to do with medical health and healing, much less taking a family apart, is devastating. How do we find a better solution to have access to medical cannabis?
You're asking me?
Yes. What's your opinion? I mean, you're
My
going through it firsthand.
From my own personal experience and from what I understand, the unity, knowledge, thinking for ourselves and boldly making our stands and not being manipulated or feeling ostracized by society if we change our points of view on things that we previously didn't understand. I just think it's time for people to put away all of the preconceived notions they have about many things around them, especially when it comes to subjects of life and death and our futures and our children's well-being. We should look at these topics and weigh it with good balance, with morals, rather than outdated laws on what's best for we the people. And that's my high hope, is to see people wake up and make choices that are in the betterment for the future of society, rather than continuing this perpetuation of corruptions that's destroying people's lives and causing people like myself to die prematurely, alone, a stranger in a strange land.
Let me ask you a question, because my background is I spent 25 years in TV news. As a journalist, this is a very compelling story. And you saw our faces as we're reacting to you missing out on all those birthdays and holidays with your kids. Have you gone to the media, and what has been their response?
I have reached out to ABC, NBC, CBS, Dateline. I have reached out to every major publication around America. I've emailed our president for 2 presidencies, been interacting with 2 Tennessee state governors. I've done everything that I can, and if you'll go to Google, you can pull my name in cannabis and see how long and how hard that I fought for my children. I have literally been to Washington, D.C. advocating against the misappropriation of our Social Security money, which is Title E4 funding, which is the money that's used to take our children from ourselves. I've been to the federal votes in Nashville, Tennessee with medical records, only to see politicians run from a simple little country board because they cannot look at the truth and look at me in my eyes and not do the right thing. I have put myself on the line for my children's sake. Now it's become something greater than myself and my children, because I realize that we're 3 out of 350 million people, and this could happen to any one of us. And every one of us at some point in our lives will want access to what's best for our health at some point in our lives. I don't care who you are or what your opinions are about that plant. You will reach a point with your life before you leave this planet. You will want access to anything that gives you the best of benefits for survival and comfort. And I've found to exist within the cannabis plant, as well as hundreds of other thousands of human beings. I even have proof that can eradicate illnesses, not help a person endure the suffering, but actually be a medication that can save lives. These things should be thought of before we upset the balance of good people's lives.
Well, my heart goes out to you, and I'm going to get your information from Charles. I'd like to help you in your fight with my knowledge of the media and public relations. I'm in your corner.
That's wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank
Robert,
you so
Before I pass it over to Dr. Shaw, I wanted to walk through the steps again in you finding the right treatment for you. You started out working with a doctor, you got a lot of different prescriptions, and the way I understood what you were saying, none of that really helped, and then you found cannabis or CBD, and that pretty well helped the problems that you found. Is that correct, or walk me through it?
Stage 4 cirrhosis caused by most of the cirrhosis has been attributed to the narcotics and the barbiturates that I to take for 28 years to deal with the advanced pain from the advanced severity of liver disease. So actually, I was just covering up the disease instead of treating it, and the cover-up was actually causing more problems. So I believe that many of us who have been down the opiate trail realize that we're doing more harm than good, where science has been good in being able to cover up the pain of the damage that they're doing while they alleviate it.
And I know you were talking about being at end of life, that they give you opioids, but you would rather cannabis to help your pain?
For myself, I would prefer it, yes, sir. Understanding that most of the opiates and alternatives are metabolized in the liver, it makes perfect sense for me to want to prolong my life and add to it a quality as well. Why would I want to take a pain medication that's going to decrease my quality of life underneath the trickery of chemistry? I found that cannabis adds to both. It adds to the quality of life without being invasive and harmful to my body. It's non-toxic and non-addictive.
Dr. Shaw, to you.
Well, what I think of after hearing this, have you looked into the Right to Try Act? This was signed into law back in May 2018. This is a way for patients who've been diagnosed with life-threatening diseases, who have tried all approved treatment options and are unable to participate in a clinical trial to access certain unapproved treatments. And so I wonder, in the regulatory environment of Tennessee, which I alluded to when speaking with you off the call, has a very restrictive climate for even opiate treatment, that perhaps you could move forward pursuing the right to try pathway. And if so, perhaps an exception could be made under that act, that you could access as much cannabinoid-based treatment option as you were able to. And I think by you being placed more in the media, I think there'd be a lot of interest in a lot of people standing behind you and getting on board, and perhaps some companies that have some innovative treatments to in the cannabis space to help out on that.
No, sir, I haven't. I have emailed, and as I use all social medias that I can to try to look for those ways to move forward. I've emailed our president. I've reached out to states government. I don't understand how to go navigate that path.
We want to reach out and help as much as we can. Dr. Shaw is going to get that information to me, and I'll get it to you. Jeff is going to help and reach out and get some, try to get you some press. And if anybody that's watching has any ideas on how to get his kids back, he just, he's really at that point in time. He may not have long to live, and he just wants to see and say goodbye to his kids. So anything that can help in that endeavor, we certainly want to help him at. Michael, please reach out anytime you need anything. We're following close, and we're going to do everything we can to help you.
God bless you, Michael.
Thank you so much. Thank each of you. God bless you. Thank you so much for what you're doing for people like myself, helping to move us forward into a world where we can think for ourselves and tear down all of these strongholds of ignorance and lies and corruption. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm just going to repeat again that from how I saw you a week ago when we interviewed you the first time, you look remarkably better. So I hope that's a good sign and healing coming your way. But thanks for joining us. We're going to go off to a commercial message, and we'll be back with Tony Solis from Simple Changes. Thank you. Be right back.
Hello, hello, coming to you from the outdoors where I do my heat training, and I did my repeats on the hills. It's actually pretty empty, but it's kind of close to 90 degrees. So that's when I squeeze in whatever I can. But I'm actually here to share what Simply Start, Simply Satisfy is. So this organic hemp oil, this is the serum Simply Start, and you can take it twice a day or once. I already took both of them in this morning, so now it's lunchtime. Real quick and easy, yummy, delicious, 30 calories. The other one is Simply Satisfy. So it's a spray and also 3 sprays. You could do it once a day or twice a day. Again, I did it this morning. I'm doing it now at lunch. It helps you take care of your health and wellness. So learn more about them. Remember, 3 simple changes on how you can incorporate into your life. You can learn more at the link below. So stay safe and keep moving, keep training, and take care of your spirit, mind, and body.
Well, we're glad you're back, and we're really excited to welcome Tony Solis back with Simple Changes. He is the VP of Sales and Marketing with the company. We got to talk to you a little bit before in one of our episodes, so very excited to get to answer a few more questions. To give you a little background on Tony, he has been in the direct selling portion of sales for, what, over 20 years now?
Yes, just over 20 years.
So I think you probably know your way around it pretty well, so I'm sure you can tell us a little bit about that. But focusing in on Simple Changes, I've been using the product, and I am very much an athlete. And I tend to overtrain. They tell me to slow it down. I never do. But you've got a new product out, the Balm. And I've used CBD before, especially topical with arnica combined. And I see a direct impact. But I am really seeing that. I mean, literally, I could not walk up the stairs this morning. So I was able to use the Balm. So tell me what's a little bit different about this product than what I might have picked up at my local drugstore.
Yeah, so I would say the thing that you need to learn about is efficacious levels. So oftentimes we'll reference an active ingredient in a product and it won't be in efficacious levels. In other words, it won't be at a level where it's actually going to play an active role in your health. And that's really the difference with our soothing balm, because most topicals are anywhere from 200 milligrams to 400 milligrams of active ingredient CBD. Our product is actually 750 milligrams because at the end of the day, what we learned is that for people that are dealing with pain and looking for something for point therapy, right? You have a point, it could be your knee, it could be arthritis in your hands, but you have an area that is sensitive, you could have inflammation, you could have tension. Again, you're wanting a product that's going to go deep down, deep into the tissue, and that's where the 750 milligrams comes in. So what's great about our product is it really does what it's supposed to do, and that is help with inflammation, help with pain, help remediate issues, and give you temporary relief.
Well, I can contest to it 100%. It's been a nice little thing to stumble across. Like I said, I've used it before, but I'm seeing direct result. And I haven't even used it for any pulled muscles. This has just been for muscle soreness and overuse. So fantastic.
How often do you find yourself using it, Melissa?
Well, I've used it every day for the last 5 days.
Have you?
Yeah, I was in San Diego last week, so I was away from doing my normal workouts. I got back into more strength training, and it's been a bit of a rough week. So yeah, every day, and I've been using it on my lower back. I see that if I start lifting heavy, I'll start getting more spasming in my lower back. The joys of getting older. But I haven't had any issue. I haven't picked up a TENS unit. It's just I've been using that. Of course, I take oral CBD as well on a daily basis. But the balm, plus it smells phenomenal and it's extremely moisturizing. So I don't feel bad lathering it on. But yeah, it's nice. It's not greasy. So.
No, not at all. And what I would just share with everyone is that in CBD use in general, we want to ensure that we use it consistently. So as with anything, the more that we use it consistently over time, you're going to see even more benefits. So oftentimes we talk about individuals that try the product once and Tony, it didn't do anything for me. I just tried it. And I said, okay, well, you come up with a regimen. And what I'd like you to do is try it once a day for the next 7 days and come back to me. But what we find is that if you give them a time period to utilize the product consistently in, you know that they're going to come back. and see the benefits. And that's why we actually at Simple Changes, we have a 30-day empty bottle money back guarantee, because after 30 days and you've used the product consistently, you can return return the bottle for a complete refund, because we know that if you've used it consistently for 30 days, you're going to see an impact. Something I've learned in the industry over the last 20 years, I've been in nutritional health and wellness for the last 5, is so oftentimes our returns are sealed bottles. In other words, it's individuals that purchased our products and they never came around to using them. I would go in and look at the customer care remarks, and I would find out that it said that that they used the product but they didn't see any benefits from it, and what it was is they just never got around to using it. So again, use the product consistently, and again, you'll start to see those results.
So I totally agree with the CBD product. I've been taking it now for about a year, and it took me, I saw some results near instantly, but after looking back after a month, I could make a, there's been big differences in my life. I used to have a lot of social anxiety. I was afraid to leave my house. I wasn't good in other people's parties, and that's just all gone for me. But the balm, when the first time I tried it, I needed it. I'd done some extra exercises on my calves that day, and I used the balm on my calves, and the pain went away instantly. But as a product owner, I was kind of disappointed that the pain didn't come back.
That's why you keep working out. I'm telling you, it's that. The same thing is when you talk about the balm. I'm a big advocate of nutritional supplements. I've done, and then when you can do whole body health. Like I've done stem cell, I've done PRP from shoulder injuries. But what and the problem is you don't see an instant result. People are so used to, with the balm you did, but people are so used to getting an instant result. If they take an ibuprofen, 20 minutes later, there's a pain relief. Anytime you're taking any sort of supplementation, it takes a while. You have to build it up in your system, and I think that's really the difference, again, with CBD, is you got to have the willingness to put the work in, so to speak. Although the balm does work right away, so does. That kind of...
It's great. Tony, the thing that I see most in this industry that's problematic is, since the government's not really regulating it, I saw an ad of somebody saying that they were selling 500,000 milligrams of CBD for like $10, or I forgot what it was, but it was something ridiculous. And we know in the industry that that's not really feasible to have 500,000 grams of medication in a tiny little bottle, and the cost of it would certainly be far greater than the $10. What do consumers do wherever they're buying their CBD products from? What do they do to make sure that they have good quality CBD?
Yeah, you have to do your homework, and that's why network marketing is a great way to get information, because there's a lot of education, there's a lot of information, because when you go to a retail store and you just walk down the aisle and they have 10 different CBD products, the average consumer is going to read the labels a little bit, they're going to trust in what's on the label, and they're going to purchase a product, potentially based on price. To your point, if it has a lot of milligrams of CBD on the label and it's at a low price, they're probably going to pick that product. The unfortunate reality is that product may have not been tested, and we just did a show and we talked about COAs and the importance of COAs. I would share with you that research, there should be a barcode on our products. There's actually a barcode that you can scan that takes you right to our third-party testing. We not only test for cannabinoid content, but we also test the soil, and we also test for any contaminants. And this is really important. And most companies out there just don't do the third-party testing, and they don't do it regularly. In other words, they may test one oil at one time in the company's time frame, but they wouldn't necessarily test every batch, and that's really important. So unfortunately, it's about educating yourself, and you can do this through third-party testing. To your point, it is sort of the wild, wild west right now. There is no requirement to have third-party testing. There's no requirement to have an accredited third-party tester test your products. We have both. So we have an accredited third-party tester that does all of our testing for our products, which brings consistency. And then obviously you can know that what's in the bottle and what's on the label is actually in the bottle itself.
I can see that being so important. I know that, even just with THC levels, it's important. But when you have patients, like we had Michael, that are dealing with, critical care issues, knowing what's in there, not getting any heavy metals, that's got to be of the utmost importance. And there's a responsibility, I think. So That's good to hear.
Well, Tony, thank you very much for joining us. Michael, thank you for joining us. It was great having you on the show, and you have a lot of people that has your back and that's out to help you. So thank you all for joining us. Next week, join us when our guest is going to be Imran Mir, a young man who that has had his life turned upside down by a cannabis conviction at an early age, as well as Will Carr coming back from Genesee Nutrition, discussing the pitfalls of flash marketing. He has a great story how he pretty well lost his entire inventory by creating a special code on Amazon. So we're going to be hearing his story and having him back on. Thank you for joining us, and see you back next Wednesday.